The purpose of my presentation is to provide some key facts about the native title land holdings in our bayside, its background, scale, and the impact it has on the local economy and community living. I come from the government audit background, and I can assure you that all the information that you will see here is from reliable sources, such as departmental websites, audit reports, strategic plans that are available in the public domain. The key question that we would try to introspect tonight is this a land native title? Is it a land claim or a land grab? Is this actually closing the gap or is it widening the gap? This map represents the scale of the problem, yet it's not been even recognized as a problem. Let's dig deeper into these native title corporations, taking Quandamuka Corporation, which we'll refer to as QAC, as a case study. There's a lot to grab today, so just pay attention. A country within country. Quandamuka country extends from the North Stradbroke Island to Moreton Islands, across the mouth of the Brisbane River up to the Norman Creek, down to Mount Cotton, the Logan River across to South Stradey, and it also covers all the Bay Islands. It overlaps the 4 local council boundaries of Moreton Bay Council in the north, Brisbane City Council, Redland Bay Council, and also parts of the Logan City Council. It covers the inland suburbs as far as Lytton, Manly, Wynnum, Chandler, Wakerley, Gumdale, Tingalpa, Belmont, and the entire area of Redland City Council. So who are these Quandamuka people? Nearly 2,000 in population, yes, just 2,000 in population, and direct descendants of the 12 family groups who are recognized as the traditional custodian of the Quandamuka country. They were the original inhabitants of the area who were disposed of their land through the colonial process in the last 200 years, when the first European settlement began in the area in 1824 with the establishment of Moreton Bay Penal Colony. Quandamuka people are the First Nations people who have inhabited the land and believed to have a deep cultural root with the land for thousands of years. It is important to note in 2011 when it all began, and much to the unawareness of the residents of this area, Quandamuka people won the rights over the North Stradbroke Island on land and sea areas of 54,408 hectares. This includes an exclusive right, and when we say exclusive right, it is similar to freehold land. This includes an exclusive title on 2,264 hectares, including Redland's only camping ground, now called Minjiraba Camping. This was the only public camping grounds for all the Redland Bay area and is still today. Their winning also included the non-exclusive onshore title over 22,636 hectares, including national park reserves, and non-exclusive titles over waterways and seas covering 29,505 hectares. That's a massive piece of land and sea area given to a small population of people. This is managed as Quandamuka Estate by the Registered Native Title Corporation, which we'll call as QAC for ease in this presentation. Now, the issue here is that majority residents are unaware and uninformed till date. It started in 2011 and it's 2025. And the humble formation of QAC has turned into a powerhouse with a never-ending expansion and demand for more and more land. Taxpayers-funded government grants are staggering in millions as benefits to QAC, and there is no accountability. It is important to note that these Aboriginal corporations have certain exclusive rights. They don't have to pay any income tax. They don't have to pay any capital gain tax. They don't even have to pay any land tax. And unlike us, they don't pay stamp duties and fees, etc. And furthermore, there is no accountability, no public accountability whatsoever. Members of the corporations are not shareholders. Members of the corporations are not shareholders, so the board is at the discretion to use all the earnings. They have easy access to capital grants for private business ventures. They have exclusive employment benefits. Just for your information, 80% of the QAC employees are Aboriginals. They have exclusive Medicare facilities here. All the Quandamooka country clinics in the Bayside area, there are around 3 or 4, are exclusively for Aboriginals. So people like me and you cannot go to those facilities. There is no gap payment, there is no waiting period, and yes, covers the dental too as per their website. That's pretty good. They have least public accountability unlike other business entities. Any royalties, permit fees, land subleases, income goes in the corporation's kitty. They don't even have to pay dividends. Well, QAC claims is a success story, but sadly of only a few beneficiaries. It started in 2011 with a North Stradbroke native title claim. It didn't stop. From there into 2014, 98% of the Moreton Island is under exclusive rights granted. It is also to be noted that both North Stradbroke Island and Moreton Islands are one of the world's largest sand reserves. So we've lost a huge chunk of resources of our area to this corporation. In 2017, their land grabbing didn't stop. They started with a coastal claim, which is in progress in 2025. It's due for hearing soon, starting on the 1st of September 2025. The native title claims covers a lot of islands, which will go more into detail in the next slides. The state-level capital grants are staggering in millions, and we'll go more into details as well. There is millions of dollars of grants from other government departments, not just the State Department. And they have an advisory panel position on most of the advisory boards for any state infrastructure projects in the area. Full rights on the earnings from all commercial activities such as Minjerribah camping and accommodation. In the financial statement 2022, and this is in the start of the Minjerribah camping, the total revenue was 15 million. They have been able to change all the names of the area to original. It's a very soft strategy, but a very, very powerful one. They've managed to get their language recognized, their culture recognized. The council funds the annual Minjerribah festival, which is coming up in a few weeks. They have the special healthcare facilities, bulk built, as we discussed. So it's a powerful entity in the neighborhood, yet no one knows about it. There is a federal court hearing on the 1st of September 2025 with the new claim. It covers an area of 530 square kilometers. Approximately 3,500 properties owned and managed by council are being impacted by this claim. From 2017 to 2025, millions have been spent by the council in litigation in mapping the area for the determination process. It is a mammoth of a project. And there are 80 parcels, some of them where you go every day, and you probably do not even recognize that they are at high risk. Federal court is scheduled for hearing on September 1, 2025, and we do not know what is going to happen by the end of this year. It is important to know that these corporations do not exist just by themselves. They have a whole government framework that supports structures, such as in the case of Quandamooka Estate Management itself. And there are hundreds of such corporations, and there are thousands of such native claims in Australia at the moment. At the state departmental level, there is a Minjerribah Strategic Oversight Group. It consists of ministerial forums, steering committee, reference groups, working groups, and teams consisting of several public employees and paid consultants. In 2016 itself, they formulated the North Stradbroke Island Economic Transition Committee strategy to phase out the sand mining. And it took them 2016 to 2019 to stop the sand mining on North Stradbroke Island. Following that, Minjerribah Futures was established, and investment strategies to support Quandamooka Corporation. It's budgeted at 60 million for capital outlays towards the tourism business initiative, supporting QAC's private business potential. Every single earning from that business goes directly to QAC, yet it's funding by the government through our taxpayers' money. There is no private equity investment as they thought initially would come, which actually shows that there has been a zero trust in the business model. And at the council level, there has been an internal reconciliation plan in 2019, under which an 8 million investment was made in a 14.5 hectare space called an Indich Space Project. It's a very few Quandamooka people live in this area, and it's a very underutilized space if you go there. You would hardly see 10 people who visits that space early in the morning. There is maintenance cost to the North Stradbroke Island public spaces, and it also for providing the general services. Yet our council, Redland City Council, is also the respondent to the native title claims in the federal court, and has spent millions in mapping the legal fees from its own budget allocation. There was an interesting report, and I would encourage all of you, if you can read this report in detail. It's by the Queensland Audit Office report, Managing Minjerribah Futures Finding, report number 142425. It's highlighted several deficiencies in this whole scheme of things. Some of the audit findings basically said there's poor public reporting on the status of the projects. There is no third-party funding obtained burdening the government expenditure endlessly. There's QA, limited capacity to manage such complex projects, and the responsibility being shifted from one department to another. There's 2/3 of the projects which are still incomplete. There is no community oversight or engagement. Questions on funding equitals are quite gray. With Minjerribah Futures funding at 39.4 million, similar funding equital process is questionable for non-Minjerribah Futures funding for 38 million and a Quampi funding of 17.5 million for Art and Cultural Center. It raises serious concern. We've got 100 million and we are still counting. Minjerribah camping audit findings were even fantastic. They've spent good about 2.2 million on 24 basic tents. The present situation is that there's hardly a few glamping tents on the Adams Beach, 3 tents on the Cylinder Beach, and 6 tents on the Bradbury Beach. And furthermore, the locals have to pay excessive permit fees, accommodation charges, to camp on what was once a community asset, and also provide for maintenance through the treasury funds and council rates. By the way, the Redland per household council rates are the highest in Queensland, and you know why. All the revenue, 18 million, and out of which 6 million is coming from the camping business, it just goes straight away to the corporation's kitty. So how does it benefit 98%? How does it benefit 98% of the non-Indigenous Australians who live in this area? And how is it a fair distribution? When we look at all this, it's important for us to look at its macro impact as well on our economy over here and also from the national point of view, at present and also in future. So what has been the impact on the economy and nation from this decision, which started in 2011? Well, the tourism potential of the area is lost. There is no private investment in the area because of the native title. Moreton Bay is potentially a World Heritage Site for its beauty, but it is under the administration of a small group rather than the government. It is also the Maritime Routes and Waterway Upgrades project. All of them now require additional compliance and negotiations for any expansion. It is also to be noted that Moreton Bay is a major cargo sea route, and much of the marine industry is based in the Port of Brisbane area. More than 90% of the Queensland imports, I say more than 90% of the Queensland imports and exports goes through this area. These islands are natural barriers if you look at them carefully. They are significant from security and defense purposes in the event of war and otherwise. Besides that, there is, of course, the cultural loss of an early settlement history because everything started from these islands. So what is the overall impact of this decision? There is no real output to the local economy, not now, not going to be in the future either. It's a hindrance to the economic and the social corridor expansion in the area. It increases the land prices as less land becomes available for housing and industrial projects. The native land holdings intervene with others' fundamental rights to access public spaces for camping, fishing, tracking, pet access areas, and also to perform our own rituals. Well, the fact is only 4,200 Aboriginal people live in the area. Most have household earnings similar to the other residents, and they also have the public welfare spending double the national average. This was stated in the Productivity Commission report. So why such a special treatment? Is this actually uplifting the Quandamooka people? And if so, at what cost? Is it a risk to the coexistence of the 98% of the Bayside population? And who is accountable for it? And why is it going unchecked? As a generation, we need to answer this question and find a way to stop this because it's getting a bit too late now. Thank you.